Yeah, g'day guys. So in the room here, we've got myself, Daniel, we've got Hayden, we've got Goran, Davina, and Paul, and we've also got Brett from Longi here. There you go, mate. So we've just finished a hour-long, basically a technical class on the new HIMO 10 technology coming out from Longi, which is just about to have its big release in Australia in the market. So there's obviously quite a few different talking points that we've gone through as far as understanding the technology. So I suppose one of the things we might start with, we might talk about obviously the glass, the panel thickness or the actual glass over the top of the cells and how that actually works with resistance to impact testing.
Cool. Well, so first question is, what is the Longi HIMO X10? It's the latest release by Longi. It is the latest product that's come out of our back contact R&D area. The design is all about generating more power from less area. So houses are not, roofs are not getting bigger, but panels are apparently, except at Longi. So we provide more efficient product that's easier for the tradies to put up on roofs and provide more power per square meter, which is what the aim for every company should be. So so today I'm happy to be here with Daniel and his team from Certified, and yeah, so happy to listen to and answer any questions. So who's up first?
Well, basically, I suppose the big one for customers, especially on the Sunshine Coast and surrounding area, would be the as far as impact testing with the thicker glass on the panel, as far as how that's going to add to the product's longevity and potentially negate performance, kind of impacts.
Well, certainly, the people on the Sunshine Coast have certainly had many occasions during the course of every year where there's large hailstones come through, and of course the roof is the most exposed part of your house. Solar panels in general have been really robust up on roofs. It takes a big stone to come and have a problem with a panel. Now it's a bit different. So back in the day, we all used to have 3.2 millimeter single glass on product. Now there's lots of dual glass products that have been shown to the market in the domestic area, and they are 1.6 millimeter dual glass or sometimes 2 millimeter dual glass. And the reality is that a 55 millimeter hailstone traveling at in excess of 112 kilometers an hour, if it hits a 3.2 millimeter glass panel, it will have approximately an 8% chance of that being breaking. But if it hits a 2 millimeter glass module, then the outcome is more like a 40%.
I think
probability is going to be breaking.
In the testing,
so the bottom line is always consider the specification of your panel when you're in areas where you get hail. So 3.2 mil fully hardened glass is way better than dual 1.6 and dual 2 millimeter layers.
And there's two facets to that as well, obviously. So I mean, essentially, you've got a situation that even if the panel doesn't crack, with previous generation technology, you can develop micro cracks in the cells, which are obviously unseen to the human eye, but could potentially, cause hot spots and things to form on the cell, which might affect its lifespan long term as far as degradation. So you can actually see in the background, it might be subtle enough for you not really to notice it on the monitoring data, that you are actually losing performance from those cells. So that's essentially what we're negating by going to that technology, and also by removing the bus bar, which is another big part of the new panels you guys are doing, where you've relocated everything below the cells on the back of the panel. So I suppose
so the Longi back contact design is one that is all about creating more efficiency in a cell, which then of course creates more output for a module. So because you move the architecture to the rear of the panel, there's nothing there on the top of the cell. So there's no shading. And when you take away that architecture, you take away coverage of 2 or 3% of the surface. So immediately there's more sunlight being able to hit the surface of the panel, of the cell. So first and foremost, the Longi back contact is more efficient because it doesn't have shading. It gets better performance morning and afternoon from glancing light, where it's coming in sideways onto the panels. You get better performance on the shoulders of the day. And that's when we all want extra power. We all want a bit more extra power at the end of the day and at the start of the day, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
So those sort of things there enable us to do that. So because all of the electrical architecture is on the rear of the cell connections are all in a straight line. And what that does, it reduces the stress on the edge of the cell when compared to a standard TopCon product. It reduces the edge stress on it by almost 50%. And then there's the connection of the solder between the two cells. And that has a reduction in excess of 16%. So there's less pressure on those really, really good joints between all the cells. And you've got 108 cells in a standard roof, in a standard panel for domestic applications. So the more of those you got, the more possibility, if it's not engineered right, to have a problem. Longi engineers their things really well, and a straight line connection between cells reduces hotspot, reduces cell failure, reduces module failure when compared to TopCon products.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's a really good clarification. And we also looked there through the technical specifications presentation we just went through at the training. Basically, it's got a better ability at managing heat as well, with less performance drop off with the way it's been designed.
The wonderful part about solar cell manufacture is that it is electrical engineering 101. Right? So sunlight hits the top of the cell. The photon kicks off an electron. The electron goes to the electrical infrastructure and comes out as electricity. The more efficient you have your cell, well, then the more energy is created and the less heat is retained. It's a virtuous circle. The product itself is more efficient, so it runs cooler, which means that it uses more of the energy that hits it, which means that it runs cooler again. So when you compare our back contact product against TopCons at the moment, the reduction over the years of the reduction, the degradation of the cells, only 0.35% per annum, whereas a TopCon product, it's 0.4. But it's also in regards to the temperature. It degrades less per degree C over 25. So when you've got a 35-degree day on the sunny coast, your cell temperature could be at 60 or 65 degrees. Comparing Longi back contact versus a standard TopCon product, that could mean a 2% difference in the output of the cell and the output of the module. So the more it gets hot, the more the Longi performs for our customers.
Yeah, which is pretty important, especially for Queensland, where we've got primarily based with their installations, obviously high heat days. And so that's definitely a big selling point for the product as far as the customer getting every single bit of performance they can out of their roof space that's available. And you had a really good question about the diodes.
Yeah, what I got, Brett, out of training was quite interesting. And going back to the thickness of the glass as well, obviously, we're mentioning hail. Now, we've just had a storm come through and my roof was covered in tree branches and things like that. So we're not just protecting about hail, of course. There's other things that's in the air coming through. So that's obviously the thicker the glass, the more secure it is. And it was it's interesting that most, as you know, most panels are having bypass diodes. That's pretty much every panel now, which means that if you do partially shade a panel, maybe a third of it will shut down. And because they've got 3 bypass diodes or 4 bypass diodes, so a third or a quarter. What I love about the Longi X10s is that we've now stepped that up to the point where it's however big the product that is shading it, that's the bit that it shades. So if all of a sudden now, instead of a third of a panel, if I've got a leaf on a panel, I can now only shade and perfect 20%, 2% or 20% of the panel rather than a third of the panel. So we can now really, when we've got leaf litter on which is horrific after storms, your systems are going to work better, and obviously in off-grid,
Yeah.
we get a lot of people after storms with leaf litter on, and we want.
I mean, even the kids are throwing a frisbee up on the roof, and it's kind of sitting on that panel. So essentially, the way the technology works, my understanding is just the area of the cell is affected by obviously whatever's under that frisbee, for an example, sake, are going to be affected, as opposed to just shutting down a complete band on that panel.
No, and it's all very relevant. The Longi X10 module, the cell design is, we call it a cell level bypass diode tech. Oh my God, what a mouthful.
Yep.
What it does, it allows for a soft breakdown design. It allows the blocked current coming from other cells to bypass those cells that are impacted by bird droppings or frisbees or leaf litter or whatever. And it prevents localized overheating. Whereas with the Topcon product, the current is blocked. So then not only does the cell overheat, but also the extra current going into it and creates a hotspot. So the localized temperature in this particular case, Longi claims that is a reduction of 28% or more compared to a regular cell.
Yeah.
Then when you start to talk about what does that do to the outcome, because as we all know, a string of panels is a bit like the Christmas lights of old. You know, if you have one of them go out, it affects the rest. So the idea that the Longi product can actually have a number of cells that are covered or obstructed, but it then doesn't affect the output in comparison to, unless you're comparing it to a Topcon product, it means that you get more continuous power out of the new X10 than you would with a current Topcon offer.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, we discussed the need for TGOs in extremely shaded environments. Obviously, that still plays a big part in doing the correct design. So, you know, the technology won't bypass the need for that in extremely shaded environments. But when you've got partial shading from litter and things landing on the panel, that's where the technology really shines to get that max yield out of the panel itself.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it's called a solar panel for a reason. So it's designed to capture the photons from the sun, right?
Yeah.
So if you have shading, then what we're not talking about now is the performance of the panel. We're actually talking about what your inverter can handle and what's the design of your inverter. And that's something that, you know, the guys here at Certified can certainly talk you through and provide you a better outcome, because if you have some localized partial shading during the course of the day, the X10 tech will help you improve your output during those periods of time compared to the current panels that are on the market.
Yeah.
But if you have a serious shade issue, then you really do need to address that to make sure that you've got the right system on your roof.
For sure.
So that's when you need to take into account the people that are standing with you and ask them for their experience.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
That's right. I was saying, and also, Brett, I did like the humidity factors that were going in as well, because obviously after the storm and the heat, we had major high humidity here, always do. And the Longi X10, that does a little bit something different with the humidity side of things as well.
It does, and it's unusual for a product to be an N-type wafer where it only has a single glass. And the reason why the almost all those manufacturers went to a dual glass module is because technically, if you get moisture into an N-type product, it reacts. The moisture then reacts with the backsheet, and then reacts chemically and electrically with the solder, because it has high tin levels or high aluminium levels. So the Longi X10 has a single glass. We have a very good backsheet and really good sealing around all of our parts. But at the end of the day, the material that we use for our solder is silver. It doesn't have these impurities in it, so we don't have a problem with if there is a moisture entry into the module itself. So once again, good engineering, good design means you get good outcomes on your roof.
Yep.
You don't
Yep.
normally get told by the by the salesperson coming to you that, you've got a bit of tin or a bit of aluminium in your solder.
Yep.
Solder is solder. Well, no, not to engineers. Engineers, they design things to make sure that they work for the balance of the performance warranty. And while we're talking about performance warranty, the Longi performance warranty on this product is 30 years. And we say that our product will only degrade by 0.35% over the time of its life. So in 25 years, this product, and in 30 years' time, this product will be putting 1.5 or 2% more out than a current TopCon product. So once again, our engineers have made the design, they've made the materials to ensure that it does have a long life, and they've delivered on their promise.
So essentially, we're looking at a panel here that's going to outlive the roof that it's attached to.
Geez, I tell you, I've seen some old roofs in Queensland. So.
Yeah, wow, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What I like about the Longi X10 as well is the mentality behind Longi is interesting. Most people now are getting bamboozled by higher wattage panels. We've got a 590, a 550. Well, it must be better than a 490. A 550, but of course, when you delve into it, the panel is simply just larger.
Yeah, it's larger.
It's just like you've got a 2.5 meter panel, but instead of a 1.7, so the customers can get tricked.
And the cell efficiency,
and that's why I like Longi. We're obviously trying to stay with the 1.8 long by 1100 wide. But the performance and the wattage and the power output is more and more, which is what you want as a panel manufacturer.
And we're looking at what, 26% module efficiency on the Longi IMO tabs.
Certainly, the cell efficiency is up over 26%, and so with the Longi X10, the efficiency is somewhere approaching 24%. So it depends on which model you have. Depends whether it's a 475 or the 490. It's certainly at that 24% level, which is it's not approached by any of the current TopCon modules that are on the market or even plan to come onto the market in the near future. So at the end of the day, the real thing is that my business, the Longi business, was started by 3 engineers 25 years ago. We are still run by engineers, and so they look at the design. And at the end of the day, people's roofs are not getting bigger. Right, the houses are getting smaller. They're getting more compact. People are asking for more energy to come from their all-electric homes. So our product is very efficient. It's very right size to fit on almost all the roofs that you find throughout southeast and central Queensland. And the reality is that you can't continue to make things get bigger. Like it's like trying to get a ute and trying to get a ute into, parking at when you go to the shopping centre. Some of these now are so big. Solar panels are that way. So we all know how difficult it is to get on a roof in the morning when there's high humidity and you're slipping around. And so the Longi product weighs 21.6 kilos. It's 1.8 meters long. So it's not a big sail area and it's not that heavy. But some of the other ones, my goodness, they're over 1.9 meters long and the weight is, considerably more. And so at the end of the day, like we talk about engineers look after the end users, but the right size of our modules look after the installers as well.
Yeah. And that's what's going to happen with the customers that we're finding now. Obviously, certified energy solutions, we're really trying to educate the customers on that because it can get slipped up when they're comparing quotes, and it's nothing to do with the size of the panel, it's how efficient. Just like and go in the real world, if I've got a 5-litre V8, but my neighbour's got a 2-litre car. The 2-litre car is outperforming the 5-litre. It's nothing to do with the size; it's to do with the efficiency. So. Once we and I think Longi's understood that, and it'd be interesting to see how far up we can go in the wattage and keep the same size.
No, exactly. And this is like I've just returned from a trip to China where I saw some manufacturers and we sat down with them direct and spoke to their R&D team. The question I threw at them was talking about these bigger 72 cell panels and larger. And I just simply said, well, is there an effort from manufacturers to essentially reduce the panel size, but actually pick up the efficiency of the system, which is essentially what these new panels are doing by maximising smaller footprint and a higher yield. And that's where I think innovation needs to come into the play, because you're right, houses are shrinking, roofs are shrinking, energy demands are increasing, and energy costs are getting bigger, so we need to offset a bigger impact with a smaller space.
Yeah, what we're finding as well, which the Longis will go really well, is that now that most of our inverters as well have got multiple MPPTs, we're using multiple roof sizes, multiple roof phases. And if I've got a 2 meter high panel or a 2.2 meter high panel, with only 4 or 6 screw lines, I can't get the panels too deep. So in actual fact, the panel is bigger, but I can't fit as many panels on through regulations. Because obviously we stay with the regulations of 300 from the window zones. So it'd be interesting in a few years' time to see the X10 at maybe a meter higher.
That'd be nice.
Well, the technology continues. Ours is a technology business. Longi, we spend 5% of our sales turnover every year on R&D. We have quite a few thousand engineers that their job is to make things more efficient, because that's what we all want. We need them to be done faster, quicker, and cheaper. And if we compare our products today to what they were even 5 years ago, it's chalk and cheese. Our prices have come down, our performance has gone up, our reliability has gone up. It's we're in a high-tech business.
Definitely.
And
the aesthetics sorry, mate. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
I was about to say, and what's happening is that, the high-tech part of the business is being embraced by those companies like Certified that are out in the marketplace. And if you're not dealing with someone that knows what they're talking about, whether it's solar, BESS, EV chargers, or anything, then you got to go somewhere else. Don't necessarily trust someone that you see has got a sporting personality, right? telling you to buy a cheap system.
Yep, that's right.
Go and have a chat to your local people, the people that are up to date with the technology side of it. They can give you options. They talk to you about things. They give you some good advice, and that's what we do. So at Longi, we're the same. So we've been in Australia selling now for 8 years. I've been with the business for 4 years. Nothing changes about what is the best advice that you can get about your home, and that is someone stands in front of you, tells you and gives you the benefit of their experience, and leaves you with options to consider. So that's why I'm here today.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What I like about it, Brett, as well, is that obviously, as you mentioned with the engineers, their job is to look at anything apart from efficiency and stuff like that. But and they don't care what things look like. But these Longi X10s, they look amazing. So they really, somebody's got in there and had a whisper in their ear and said, "Look, let's make these guys amazing looking panel as well." Because let's face it, if we have a beautiful home, which some of our customers do, we've got to make sure aesthetically that these panels are going to look really well and blend in. We're seeing a lot of black on black roofs now, so we've got black on black panels. And with the fact that we've now got the back sheet, so there's no silver strips down them. I think the engineers have ticked the box for aesthetics as well as efficiency.
Well, it's obviously, that's a big part. And we do an all black mounting system here that we utilise. So it's powder coated black, and we've got the all black panels. And like you said, it doesn't have the bus bars and all that kind of stuff visible. So you're looking at a nice, kind of really aesthetic, jump in that system's design, but it also has a performance to back it too, instead of compromising between design and performance. So that's a big selling point, for our consumers, because 9 times out of 10 will turn up to site for a consultation, and the wife will go, "I want solar panels and I want to save money, but I don't want them on the northern face," because they're going to be visible from the roof. So obviously, if you can say, "Well, it's going to be an aesthetical add-on to your property and also do the job at the same time," that's a big value add to the product. But and aside from the aesthetics, one of the biggest things you said, obviously, Longi have been selling in the Australian market for 8 years. Obviously, Longi has Australian offices as well, so they're actually located here, like yourself, and many colleagues of yourself as well, for a support network. So if there ever is a performance or a warranty issue, we can talk direct to support in Australia. We don't have to go overseas, which is a big thing. For us as a retailer too, because we take a risk when we select a certain product, so we've got to do our due diligence to make sure we have the support that we can then pass on to the consumer.
Absolutely, you've got to have a footprint. You've got to have skin in the game. So Longi has skin in the game. So we have a head office in Sydney. I'm based in Brisbane. I have my technical and commercial people reside in Melbourne, and I have a technical sales and support in Western Australia.
Cool.
So we've got the major population centres. Sorry, South Australia. We've got the major population centres covered. But you're right. Like it's we are local. We are here, and the reality is that the only time that we have a time zone issue is when those damn Southerners are still in daylight saving. But apart from that, like you ring us and we're on your time. So
awesome, mate. That's really good, and I think our consumers will be happy to hear that. So I suppose from any technical points of view, is there anything else worth kind of raising for this video that we haven't really already covered? I think we've covered all the most important key differences with the Longi new tech coming out.
I think on the customer point of view, the things that we need to know rather than super technical is that the reason why certified energy solutions are gonna start providing Longi is just like you say, efficiency, look great, an amazing warranty with the tough as nails for Australian conditions that we're ever going to need. So a customer at the end of the day they work very hard for the money. They want to make sure that they're going to be well looked after, and I think that's why we're going to do. It's going to be a very exciting time.
I think you summarised that perfect. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think that's probably a really good end note for our conversation presentation. Yeah, and obviously, we'll discuss with our user when we talk to them about the panel options. Obviously, we'll be able to provide them technical data sheets and all the information on the new panels as well, so they can compare and then make the selection. Based on what they want, essentially, at the end of the day.
I'm very jealous of anybody who can get these.
Sure. Well, my house is probably going to get them. So we're just talking about that. I've got a big upgrade coming to my place. There's a good chance the roof's going to be smothered.
And that's actually something. I know you've done a wind up, but the bottom line is a lot of people are saying, how is it that I can reduce my costs? Should I get a battery? And the first thing they do is they ring up guys like yourself, Daniel, and they ask questions. And they say, does my current system deliver me sufficient to be able to drive a battery system?
Yeah.
And the benefit of having the Longi panel is that you can stick more of them on the roof. They are flexible to be able to put in different directions. They're efficient enough that even if you put them on the southeast or southwest side, they're still going to kick goals for you over the course of the year.
Yeah.
But the great news is always the case that when you deal with your local people, you get a great local job, right?
Yeah.
And I can't push that hard enough. Yes, my business, the business I work for, is not in Australia, but I guarantee you this: the things that you want to have on your home. The people you want to do stuff that you want them to do stuff for your home, you got to trust them, because your home is your castle. Always pick wisely about the people you let in the front door, and always ask them for their recommendations. And 100%. If you do those two things, the problems associated with all of those people that go on to these, social media sites and complain, you'll dodge a big bullet.
Yeah,
and that's really the bottom line. And I thank you guys for asking me on today. It's great to be on your site, talking to your people, trying to work out ways to get more of your customers a better outcome.
No,
thank you very much.
We really appreciate your time, Brett, and we'll look forward to working with you over the coming years.
Thank you very much.
Great stuff, mate. Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. All right, we'll see you around. And if you're looking for a quality solar system, then reach out to us and have a chat, and we'll certainly give you all the lowdown on the latest tech. Yep, awesome stuff.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. All right, Brett, we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. See you, mate.
Bye now.
Bye.